Welcome back. In our last session, we focused on positive emotions, exploring the full range of emotions and learning how they contribute to our well-being. Today, we'll dive into engagement, more specifically how our strengths play a vital role in our ability to stay engaged, energized, and effective. Engagement is about finding those moments when you're fully absorbed in what you're doing, when your strengths are perfectly aligned with the task at hand. Before we get started, let's reflect on the rooted routine for emotion you created in the last session. What went well with your routine? Where did you struggle? What have you learned about routines so far? How might you improve your rooted routines in the future? Take a moment to write those reflections in your workbook. This will help set the stage as we move into creating a new habit around strengths later in today's session. Here's an overview of what we'll be covering today. We'll begin with a reflection round to explore how you've been using your strengths. Next, we'll define what is a strength and explore its benefits. We'll discuss the concept of flow and how using your strengths can help you find flow. Then we'll look at the importance of balancing strengths, knowing when to use them and when to pull back. We'll explore teaming with strengths in a workplace context. Finally, we'll create a rooted routine to help you apply what you've learned. We'll begin with a reflection round to explore how you've engaged with your strengths recently. Think about the last time you used your strengths, whether at work or in your personal life. What has gone well? Where have you noticed challenges or resistance? What have you been learning about your strengths? What might you try next to use your strengths more effectively? Take a moment to write reflections down in your workbook. Now let's explore what we mean when we talk about strengths. Think back to a time at work or in life when you felt energized, capable, and engaged. What were you doing in that moment? What actions did you take, and what was the impact of your efforts? In your workbook, go ahead and write down your reflections. Identify those moments and begin to recognize the strengths you are drawing on. Gabrielle, the driver, describes strengths as those things we're energized by, good at, or have the potential to become good at, and enjoy doing. Strengths are not just about being competent. They're about feeling energized and engaged when you use them. Using your strengths has numerous benefits. It improves collaboration, along with innovation. When we use our strengths, we are more likely to think creatively and approach problems with confidence. It improves goal achievement. Using our strengths enhances intrinsic motivation, helping us persist towards our goals with greater focus and resilience. It boosts our job performance. Studies have found that when we use our strengths, we experience higher job satisfaction, which is directly linked to improved performance. It enhances resilience and coping skills. Using our strengths helps us manage stress better and gives us a greater sense of purpose. Strengths align with our core values and contribute to a sense of meaning. It helps improve physical health. Research indicates that when we regularly use our strengths, we report better physical health outcomes. It increases the likelihood of experiencing flow, those moments of deep absorption in our work. Focusing on our strengths creates optimal conditions for entering flow states, where challenges align with our abilities, leading to heightened concentration and productivity. There are several tools available to help you identify your strengths. These include the VIA character strengths, focuses on personal development and well-being by identifying character strengths like gratitude, perseverance, and curiosity. Next is the Clifton strengths, often used in professional settings. This focuses on innate talents that enhance performance at work. And finally, the strengths profile, a balanced tool that assesses strengths, learned behaviors, and weaknesses, focusing on both work and home life. Each of these tools can give you valuable insights into your strengths and how to apply them. Which of these strengths assessments resonates most with you? If you haven't taken one yet, consider which tool you'd like to explore further to gain more insight into your strengths. Tom Rath, a leading researcher on strengths, reminds us that it's important to leverage what you learn about yourself from any assessment than to focus on the tool itself. The real value lies in how you apply the insights to your life and work. For this program, we'll focus on the VIA character strengths. These 24 strengths are grouped into 6 broad categories: wisdom, courage, humanity, justice, temperance, and transcendence. Each of us has the capacity to express these strengths, and understanding our top strengths will help us bring out best in ourselves. Which of these strengths do you identify with the most? Think back to the moment when you felt energized and capable. Using the VIA character strengths list, identify 3 strengths you were drawing on. What impact might those have had on your well-being? Your performance? Write your reflections in your workbook. David Cooperrider reminds us to reverse the typical 80-20 rule. Instead of spending 80% of our time focusing on problems, we should spend 80% focusing on our strengths. When we prioritize our strengths, we create more opportunities for success, fulfillment, and growth. Now let's explore how using your strengths can help you find flow. Think about the last time you were so absorbed in a task that you lost track of time. What were you doing? How did you feel before, during, and after the experience? Write down your reflections in your workbook. As Daniel Goleman explains, flow is a state of self-forgetfulness. It's the opposite of rumination and worry. It's when you're fully engaged in using your strengths and your skills seem to flow more effortlessly. A peak experience where there's a balance between the challenge of the activity and the skill of the performer, leading to a sense of mastery and well-being. This is when your strengths and the challenge match, and flow happens naturally. Flow occurs when there's a perfect balance between challenge and skill. If the challenge is too great for your skill level, you may feel anxious. If the challenge is too easy, you might feel bored. But when the two are in balance, you achieve flow. In a flow state, you might notice that time flies and hours pass by like minutes. The task feels natural and easy. You're completely absorbed, free from distractions. There's also a deep sense of fulfillment when everything comes together. Now that we've explored what flow is, let's talk about how to foster more flow in your life. There are 4 key elements. The first is temporal, which refers to time-related factors. It's about identifying the periods when you're most likely to achieve a state of flow or peak performance. When during the day or week can you best experience flow? Then we have environmental. This pertains to your physical surroundings and how they impact your ability to concentrate and enter a flow state. What surroundings help you concentrate? Next is social. This dimension considers how social interactions and presence or absence of others affect your ability to achieve flow. Do you flow better solo or with others? The last dimension is physical, which relates to your bodily state and how it influences your mental focus and ability to enter flow. How does your body feel? Are you well rested, nourished, and moving enough to support focus? To help you foster flow, we created a Fostering Flow toolkit. Looking at a few examples, starting with time blocking, which falls into the temporal dimension. An example of time blocking is scheduling uninterrupted periods of work. You may have noticed how you can really get into some flow when you're not constantly interrupted. To give another example, let's look at brain food. Your mind needs the right fuel to hit top gear. Then solo flow zone, which you can see in the social dimensions here. Sometimes you need your own space to focus without distractions. And the last example I'll go over is collaborative flow, which involves identifying tasks that benefit from teamwork and scheduling time for collaboration. Some tasks just flow better when you're bouncing ideas off others. Let's take a moment to apply this to your life. Think about a task where you'd like to foster more flow. What temporal, environmental, physical, and social tweaks can you make to better support flow in this task? Flow represents a peak experience in which there is a balance between the challenge of the activity and the skill of the performer, leading to a sense of mastery and well-being. The goal is to find that balance so you can experience more flow and reap the benefits of being fully engaged. Next, we'll explore the importance of balancing our strengths, knowing when to use them and when to pull back. Think about an obstacle you've been struggling with recently. Were any of your strengths overplayed or underplayed in that moment? For example, was your strength of leadership overplayed to the point of micromanaging? Or was a strength like creativity underutilized? When a strength is overused or underused, it is no longer a strength. Even our greatest strengths can backfire if they're not applied in the right way or at the right time. Dr. Alex Lindley explains that overplayed strengths can lead to burnout or overconfidence. On the other hand, underplayed strengths are untapped wells of potential that often result in procrastination or lost confidence. This quote highlights the impact of not fully utilizing or recognizing one's strengths. So it says that underplayed strengths represent deep wells of potential that lie within you and result in procrastination. The idea here is that by not fully embracing and using our strengths, we're not just missing out on opportunities, we're actually holding ourselves back. The golden mean, a concept from Aristotle, suggests that virtue lies in the balance between too much and too little. This applies to our strengths as well. Courage, for instance, should fall between recklessness and cowardice. The goal is to use just the right amount of strength to achieve the best outcome. Taking a moment to consider how you can apply the golden mean to your strengths, where could you strike a better balance? Looking back at the obstacle we reflected on earlier, which of your strengths could you pull back on or lean into more to achieve your goal? What would that look like? This insight from Dr. Alex Lindley reinforces the importance of using strengths in a balanced way, adjusting the intensity based on the situation. Now let's shift to teaming with strengths. How can you apply strengths not just individually, but in a team or workplace setting? Consider the people you work with. How do you know what you're good at, and who or what has helped you learn this? What impact does this have on your performance or relationship with others? In your workbook, reflect on these questions. Appreciating others' strengths not only elevates them, but also enriches our own perspective and understanding. Recognizing and valuing the strengths of those around you doesn't just benefit them, it enhances your own understanding of teamwork and collaboration. Dr. Jane Dutton emphasizes that by focusing feedback on strengths, we help individuals see their unique contributions and inspire them to excel further. Strengths-based feedback creates a positive environment where people feel valued and motivated to grow. Organizations that use strength-based feedback often see improvements in motivation, because we're more likely to feel valued and appreciated. Mindset, because strength-based feedbacks help us see our potential rather than feeling limited by weaknesses. Innovation, because when people feel confident in their strengths, they're more likely to take creative risks. And finally, stress reduction. Strength-based feedback helps us feel more competent and in control. When people work within their areas of strengths, tasks feel more natural and less stressful. Strength spotting is the practice of noticing and acknowledging the strengths in others. It's a simple but powerful way to foster better relationships and create a culture of appreciation. The steps are quite simple. First, S. Set the intention. Decide who or what you're going to focus on. For example, you might think, this week I'm going to watch how Jane handles our project meetings to see her strengths in leadership. Second, P. Perceive the signs. Pay attention to how people show their strengths through what they do and how they act. You might notice something like, Jane was great at coordinating tasks and keeping the team motivated, which really showed her leadership skills. Then O, which stands for outcome-based feedback. Tell the person what strengths you saw and how it makes a difference. Jane, I saw your leadership and collaboration during our meeting. The way you organized tasks motivated the team, everyone felt heard, and that led to a better discussion. And finally, T. This stands for test your perceptions. Check in with them to see if they agree with what you noticed. How do you think your leadership and collaboration were strong in the meeting? How do you see your role? And do these strengths feel right to you? Think about the next time you notice something using their strengths. What did you observe and what impact did their strengths have on situation? Can you spot their strengths? Write down your reflections in your workbook. Practicing strength spotting regularly can help you build stronger connections and promote a positive atmosphere in your workplace. Strength-based feedback not only boosts confidence, but fosters a culture of continuous learning and development. By focusing on what's going well, we encourage people to keep growing and improving. Let's create your own rooted routine for strengths. Just like previous sessions, the goal is to build a small, manageable habit that will help you consistently use your strengths. As Zeno said, well-being is realized by small steps, but it's truly no small thing. Small, consistent actions can lead to big results over time. To create a rooted routine for strengths, start with a grounded beginning by choosing an existing action or routine in your day that naturally allows you to add a new well-being habit. Think about behaviors you already do and how this moment can nurture the start of your new habit. Then select a nurturing action, a small, manageable step to foster your well-being. Make sure it's simple enough to do even on busy days, helping you take your first step toward growth. After completing your action, create a thriving moment by celebrating your success, no matter how small. Finally, consider a nourishing reflection by anticipating how this practice will support your well-being. Think about the positive changes you expect to see in your thoughts, mood, or habits. So what rooted routine for strengths might you try? You could practice spotting strengths in yourself or others. This is a powerful way to reinforce positive behavior and boost morale. Another idea is to practice giving strength-based feedback. Another option is to select a small behavior from the Fostering Flow toolkit and experiment with it. Recapping what we've covered today, we reflected on your current use of strengths and discussed what a strength is. We explored the concept of flow and how strengths help us achieve it. We learned the importance of balancing strengths to avoid overuse or underuse. Finally, you created a rooted routine for strengths to put these ideas into practice. What's one key takeaway from your session today?